Namaste everyone. Let's start with our first question that is asked by majority of companies like Cognizant, Wipro, Infosys, TCS, etc. So first question says, what is Java? Okay. Whenever interviewer asks such questions, we have to make sure that we will give the correct answer to it. Okay. So what we can say that Java is a high level object oriented programming language that widely used for developing various applications from mobile application to web applications. So this type of answers you can give when interviewer asks for what is Java, or you can also explain the Java features. Okay, if you see the Java features here, we mentioned that Java is a platform independent language. The second thing is Java is a object oriented language. The third thing is memory management. Java contains strong memory management that is handled by the garbage collection. Okay. So if you want to know about garbage collection in detail, you can reach out to any website or you can watch any videos to understand more deep about garbage collections. Okay. So this type of answer you should give when interviewer asks for what is Java and explain the key features of Java. So this is our first question which we explained clearly to you. Hope you got that very clearly, understandable. Hope you got that very clearly, and let's jump into second question. This is very interesting question asked by majority of companies and recently asked by Cognizant. In Cognizant program analyst role, this question is asked. Okay, so let's see about what is the question is. So what is JVM? Whenever the interviewer asks about this question or this type of question, you should know what is Java virtual machine. And to know Java virtual machine, you should know how Java program works. So let's explain by simple example. First, read what is given here. JVM acts as a runtime engine to run Java application. JVM is one that actually call the main method present the Java code. Okay, so whatever he is saying, JVM is the thing that is calling our Java code using the main method of the project or of the class. Okay, Java application are called write once, run anywhere. Okay, that means that with the help of JVM generate bytecode, and bytecode can run anywhere on the platform, whether it is a OS, whether it is a Windows or any other operating systems, whether it is a Unix. So with the help of JVM, programmer can develop Java code on one system and can expect it to run on any other Java enabled system without any adjustment. That is the power of JVM. This all possible because of JVM. And this dot class goes into various steps when we run it. This step together describe the whole JVM. Okay, so whenever dot class came to class loader, okay, it will execute and allocate the space in heap or stack or any other thing. Okay, and it will start our execution. For more detail of JVM, you can use any website or any video, refer to it, that will give you a better understanding. But for answer to the interviewer, you can say that JVM acts as a runtime engine to the Java application. JVM is one that actually call the main method present in the Java code. JVM is a part of JRE, Java runtime environment. Okay, so let's jump into another question. So this question is asked by IBM. I also faced the question in the Cognizant interview. Okay, so hope you like it or hope you understand better. So let's start. Explain the main method. Whenever interviewer asks such questions, you have to make sure that you can explain thoroughly and deeply and describe proper everything. So here you can say that main method is an entry point of a Java application. As a matter of fact, this is when the program starts its execution. This method has a following signature: public static void main. This is the signature of the method. Okay, here public access modifier indicate that it can be accessed from anywhere. Okay, that's why this method is public. you can access this method from anywhere in the class. Okay, and static makes it a class method. Okay, and void signifies that it does not return a value. It just called by JVM and it will start the execution, but it is not returning any value. That's why return type is void. What is the main? Main is the name of the method. Okay, and then you can say string arguments. What do you mean by string arguments here? String argument parameter allow you to pass command line argument to the program whenever you need an input from the user in the application. So this is the string argument that can help to take a input. Hope you got that, and this is the description of things you can read also to understand better. So let's jump to our new question. What is access modifier in Java? Access modifier probably 4 types such as public, private, protected and default. So if you see here, public modifier are 4 types, private that cannot be accessed by the object or outside of the class. Okay, default, then protected, then public. You can read more about it in detailed video, or you can read about it on a blog. So let's jump to our new question. So this is very famous question asked by multiple companies. I know that some of the companies which asked that the name is TCS Wipro Cognizant, and the question is Java platform independent or not? Or how you prove that Java is independent language? Okay. The meaning of Java platform independent is that Java compile code can run in all operating system with the help of JVM, which I told you before also. Okay, with the help of JVM, Java generate the bytecode, and bytecode will help to run on any operating system. Suppose this is our JVM that generate bytecode. Okay, means dot class. Okay, you can say dot class. That dot class can run on any OS, any operating system. That is the power of JVM, and using that, this concept makes Java as an independent language that can run on any operating system. So if we read about it, what I mentioned, so step by execution of Java program. Whenever program is written in Java, the Java compiles it. So basically, if anyone asks you, or recruiter asks you, or any interviewer asks you, step by execution of program, you should tell. So how you can explain it? So step by step execution of Java programs. Whenever program is written in Java, the Java compiles it. The result of Java compiler is a dot class file, that is, or the bytecode, which I explained you here. Okay, after compilation, it will generate the bytecode. After bytecode generated, okay, need a interpreter to execute on a machine. This interpreter is a JVM. This interpreter is a JVM. Thus, the bytecode is executed by the JVM. So basically, it is saying whenever we run our Java program, Java will compile it. After compilation, dot class file will generate. That class file is executed by JVM on any operating system. And finally, the program run to give the desired output. If you see here, so this is the workflow which Java language do. And you should know that if interviewer asks you how Java is independent language, you should explain with the help of JVM how classes are generated, how dot class file are generated, and that is executed on any operating system with the help of JVM. Okay, and you can explain about it bytecode. So this is the thing. In this case of C and C++, that is not a platform independent language. The compiler generate an exe file. Okay, compiler generate exe file which is both OS dependent and the CPU dependent. So it means that .exe file will run only in that system who compiles it, others not. When we try to run an executable file on another OS or CPU RTA, it does not run since it is specifically compiled for the target operating system. That is the main flaws of C++. But it is a good point also. Using that, it is more related with hardware, and when any language is more close to hardware, we can give the instruction to hardware, or we can do hardware programmings. So if you see here, Samsung uses C++ to do lots of things, and Adobe also using C++ to do a lot of things, lot of application based on C++. So let's jump to new question. What are memory storage available in JVM? Java virtual machine is an abstract machine. In other words, it is a programmer software which takes Java bytecode and convert the bytecode into machine code. So basically, JVM acts as a runtime engine to run Java applications. JVM is one actually calls the main method present in Java code. JVM is a part of Java runtime environment. JVM performs some particular type of operation. If you see JVM, what JVM perform loading of code, JVM perform verification of code, JVM perform execution of code. It provide a runtime environment to the user class loader. That is also important. The fourth one is it provide a runtime environment to the users. So let's talk about class loader. It is a subsystem of JVM which is used to load class files. It is mainly responsible for three activities: loading, linking, initialization. This is the three parts which class loader do. Types of memory areas allocated by the JVM. So JVM can allocate 5 types of area, such as class area, such as heap area, such as stack area, program counter register, and native method stack. These are the 5 areas which memory areas which JVM can allocate. And when interviewer asks you types of memory area allocated by the JVM, this is your answer you have to say, or you have to tell to your interviewer. So if we talk about this diagram, so this diagram tells the same thing. Class loader will help to load the class files. Then we allocated the space using heap, stack, program counter register, then executing engine, then native method interface, and native method libraries. This is the part of JVM. So let's jump to our new question: difference between JVM, JRE, and JDK. And this is also a very interesting question asked multiple times in multiple interviews. Java Development Kit is a software package needed to develop Java application and contains tools such as Java compiler and debugger. Means JDK comes with Java compiler and debugger. Okay. Java runtime environment is an environment where the Java application run. Okay. Java application run in runtime environment. Okay. Java application run in Java runtime environment. And it comprises the JVM and class libraries. Then Java virtual machine is an integral part of JRE. It is responsible for executing Java bytecode. So if you know the flow, what is the flow? This is our Java program. When you compile it, it will generate bytecode, and that bytecode is executed by the JVM. So this is the flow. Hope you got that flow, and hope you got the difference between JVM, JRE, and JDK. So stay connected. We will jump into next question. So last time also we saw public static void main, what it actually and how it is working in the Java. So now interviewer asks you explain public static void main in Java. So how you gonna answer this question? Let me explain you. Firstly, you have to tell what is JVM and how JVM execute or call the main method. So that we mentioned here, Java main method is the starting point of where the JVM start the execution of a Java program. JVM will not execute the code if the program missing the main method. Okay, hence it is most important method of Java, and having a prior understanding of it is a very important part. Okay. Syntax of main method, if you see the syntax of main method, this is the syntax of main method, in which we compiler calling the main method and executing this statement. The output is coming as I am geek. So let's talk about 4 keywords in main method. So first keyword is public. Okay. So it is an access modifier. Okay. Public tells that it can be accessed by this user, it can be accessed by this user. Public method is accessible by any object. So when you are making the object, you can say that obj dot public method such as Tarun. So it will call your public method. Okay, it will call the Tarun. Okay, so this is the public method. So it is an access modifier which specifies from where and who can access this method. Make the main method public, make it globally available. That is very important because main method can be called by operating system and can be called by JVM. So it is important to make it public. So if the main method is not public, its access is restricted and JVM not able to call that method and your program will not execute. So this is the thing. If you make it private, this will not get printed and error will come. What error? Main method not found in class. Please define the main method as public. Okay. This error you saw, and this is the correct error which you get when you are making main method as private. The second thing is static. Static is the second keyword. Okay. If you remove the static, here I remove the static. Okay. It is a keyword that is when associated with the method, making it is a class related method. Okay. The main method is static so that JVM can invoke without instancing the class. That means that whenever you make method, any method as static, then you don't need to define the object. You don't need to define the object of the class. You can directly call that main method which is static and it is callable. So that is the main thing. Compiler JVM don't want to make the object. That's why we make it as static. So compiler or JVM will call it easily without making the object of the class. So that is the reason we make the static as main method. Okay. So I removed here static. So if you see here, output came as main method is not static in class test. Please define the main method as static. So this is the error which you get when you are not defining static method. Okay. Main method as static. Okay. Hope you got it. The third is void. Why we define void? Because we are not returning anything. So here, if you see here, we are returning 1 and we provide int. Okay. Int as a return type and we are returning 1. So in that case, if you see here output, main method must return a value of type void in class main. Please define the main method as public static void main. So if you see error came that you can't able to define int method, you have to define void method. And reason for this is, as the main method does not return anything, its return type is void. As soon as the main method terminate, the Java program terminate too. Okay. It does not make any sense to return from the main method as JVM. Can't do anything with the return value of it. Means that whenever JVM, suppose this is a JVM, calls this main method and we are returning 1 to JVM. But if we are returning 1, what value we return? Whatever value we return, 1, 2, 3, 4, JVM can't able to do anything with the value. So there is no sense to return a value. That's why the return type of main method is void. So hopefully you got your answer. So the fourth thing is main. Main is the method name. So there is a restriction in Java. You have to define main only. You can't write another name, such as I write here new name. So it is not possible. If you see here error, main method not found in class. So whenever JVM call that program, JVM searches for main method. JVM don't know any other name. JVM searches for main method. So we have to make sure that main method can be available in our class. Okay, this is the main criteria which we have to follow while defining the main method. Fifth thing is string argument. So it stores the Java command line argument, and it is an array of type java.lang.string class. The name of the string array is array, but it is not fixed. The user can use any type of place in it. So he's saying that argument you can change to org or Tarun. You can change the name. That is okay. But if you see here, basically string argument given here because whenever user want to give the input, as 1, 2, and that input we needed to run our application, or that input is very important to execute some flows which user want, that type these things came into picture, and we have to take the argument and we have to split it and we have to use the argument in our application. So by that reason Java added as string array. Okay, in that you can pass any type of stream or any type of integer, any type of strings, any type of input you can pass. Okay, so hopefully you got your answer. If you see here, we executing arguments. Okay, arguments give 1, 2, 3 because from the input we are passing 1, 2, 3. So that came into argument. If you see here, Java Greek for Greek 1, 2, 3. Greek for Greek is a program name, and 1, 2, 3 is the input. So input comes here, and I am trying to print to show you argument contains some values. Okay, so hopefully you got your answer, and this is the best way to define your main method, and you can explain this in detail to your interviewer. So sometimes what happen is interviewer asks what is package, and many people don't remember it. So let's try to learn what is package. So Java package is a group of similar type of classes, interface, and sub packages. Package is in Java can be categorized in two forms: built-in package and user-defined package. There are many built-in packages such as Java, Lang, AWT, JavaX, Swing, .NET, IO, the SQL, this type of packages which Java already have, and we are using that package to import some libraries and use that libraries. Suppose math is also a package, I guess. So you can use, if you use that library, multiplication or power functions, so you have to include that package, okay, or import that package into our application or into our program. Okay, so this is the main thing. And user defined package you can make if you know about Spring framework. So Spring framework follows some architecture. Okay, so Spring framework follows some architecture. So this is the Spring framework follows some architecture, that is some folders. Okay, suppose exception is a folder, controller is a folder, and utils is a folder, and every folder contains multiple classes or multiple interface. So these folders can be called as package. Yes, these folders can be called as package, and these folders is user defined package. Okay, so this is the difference between user defined or predefined packages. Predefined packages means it is a library which Java provide to us, and user defined packages which we created for our own use case or for our code base cleanliness. Okay, so let's jump to our new question. How many types of packages are there in Java? Okay, there are many types of packages which I know because Java is growing. Java 8, Java 11, Java 18, so Java 17, Java 21. So this type of Java version came, and every Java has deprecating some methods and inserting some methods, giving some new packages to us. So if you talk about built-in packages, you can say that java.lang, java.io, java.util, java.applet, java.awt, java.net. So this type of packages you should remember. If anyone asks how many packages are there in Java, so you can at least tell 3 to 5 packages. Okay, user defined packages, these are the packages that is defined by the user. First we create a directory, my package. Okay, then create the my class inside the directory which directly with the first statement being the package name. So suppose this is the package. Inside this, C1 class is there, C2 class is there, C3 class is there. 3 classes is there inside that package, and every class is importing this package name. Okay, and this is the thing which here also mentioned. Okay, so hope you got this thing. If you create or created a Spring application, you should make sure that you created a package of exception, controller, utils, or you can say repository. These are the famous packages we created for our code cleanliness and for our modular structure of the code. Okay, so if any new developer came, developer should know controller class can handle the APIs, or database part can handle the queries, or exceptions classes, exception package can handle the exception classes. So we are segregating these classes to make sure that when new developer came, so it is easy for developers to understand the application thoroughly and start the code from day one. So if we talk about the data types in Java, so there are mainly many data types are there, but the category is 2: primitive data types, non-primitive data types. If we talk about the primitive data type, boolean data type is there, byte is there, char is there, short is there, int is there, long is there, float is there, double is there. And for point value we can use double, for integer value 1 2 3 4 we can use int, for character of values such as TARUN we can use char, and we have float also, we have long also for long length of integers. So we have multiple data types here. Okay, if we talk about non-primitive data types, so in that string came, array came, class came, object came, interface came. All can be considered as primitive data type that is designed by us. Okay, and why it is called as non-primitive data type is reference data type will contain a memory address of a variable values because it is not able to directly store the values in the memory. Types of non-primitive mentioned below. Okay, so this is the reason it is called as non-primitive data types. So let's jump to our new question. If interviewer tells you when a byte data type used, okay, a byte is a 8-bit signed to complement integer. The minimum value supported by byte is -128 and +127 is the maximum value. It is used in condition where we need to save memory and limit the number of numbers needed between -128 to 127. That means that if you use int, so int range is big. Okay, int range is around 10 to the power 6 and minus also 10 to the power 6, something like that. Int has the range, or I think long has the range. But if you know that your range is under 100, then you can use this byte data type to save the memory or to allocate the memory in less consumption. Okay, so you can give such answers whenever interview asks when the byte data type used. What is Java string pool? It is very famous question asked by multiple companies such as TCS, Cognizant. In my interviews also in multiple companies, this question definitely get asked by interviewer, okay, or any Java developer when you are applying for Java developer position, to make sure that you should know what is string pool. So let's start this question. String pool is nothing but a storage area in Java heap where string retriever strolls. Okay, it is also known as string internal pool or string constant pool. It is used like object allocation. By default, it is an empty and privately maintained by the Java string class. Whenever we create a string, the string object occupies some space in the heap memory, or any object when you create a class object, that memory created in the heap. Okay, creating a number of string may increase the cost and memory too, which may reduce the performance also. If you see here, I created string 1, I created string 2. If I created string 1 and 2 in Java heap, both values or both variable s1 and s2 are pointing to same value. that is string pool. Okay, and when I created string 3, okay, and using new keyword, that time this cat is created separately. That means that when you are creating like this values pointing to same place, okay, or it is stored to same area. S1 address is also same, S2 address is also same. That means that when you are changing S1 to Tarun, okay, S1 to Tarun, S2 also definitely changes to Tarun automatically, okay, because S1 and S2 pointing to same memory location. That is the main reason which you should know what is string pool, okay. And when you are creating a string with the same name but using new keyword, that time memory allocation will be different. It is a properly different memory location, okay. So this is called as string pool. And if you are comparing S1 and S2, it is given that it come as true because both are pointing to same value. And when you are comparing S1 and S3, it is false because this address and this address is totally different. That is the reason it came as false. The next question is, can we declare a pointer in Java? No, we can't declare the pointer in Java because pointer comes in C++ and pointer allow us to directly allocate or directly access the memory from the memory location. So that is the main problem which C++ has, and that is very tough to judge where pointer is pointing now, and you can access the different person values also or different allocation of memory values also. So that is the main reason Java removes it, and that's why Java not supported pointers. If you see here, as Java needed to more secure because we feature on the pointer is not provided in Java. That's the reason, okay. What is wrapper classes in Java? Wrapper in general refer to larger entity that encapsulate a smaller entity. Here in Java, the wrapper class is an object class that encapsulate the primitive data types. Primitive data types are the one from which further data types could be created. For example, integer can further lead to construction of long, byte, short, etc. Right? Okay. On the other hand, the string can't. Hence, it is not primitive. Getting back to wrapper class, Java 8 wrapper classes. Okay. They are boolean, byte, short, integer, character, long, float, double. And using that wrapper classes, Java called as a 100% independent or 100% object oriented language. Okay. If someone asks you Java is a 100% object language or not, so you should say Java contains the primitive data types. That is the reason Java is not a 100% object oriented language. But there is a way to make Java 100% object oriented language with the help of wrapper classes. Okay, wrapper classes are considered as an object, not a primitive data types. If you see here, boolean, byte, as this all are the object. Okay, custom wrapper classes can also be created in Java, which is similar to the concept of structure in the C programming language. We create our own wrapper classes with the required data types. So that is also a feature provided by Java. You can create your own wrapper classes also. And whenever interviewer asks you what is the wrapper classes, you should directly say that that is a type of object which help to make Java 100% object oriented language. Okay, and primitive data type considered as an object in that, and we can encapsulate that primitive object into a wrapper class. That's why the name suggests it is a wrapper class. Okay, so let's see the new question. Why do we need wrapper classes? Wrapper classes is an object class that encapsulates the primitive data types, and we need them the following reason. Wrapper classes are final and immutable. Okay, provide methods like value of, parseInt, etc. It provides the feature of auto boxing and unboxing. Okay, this type of features wrapper class provide. That is the reason we are using wrapper classes. So now let's see our new question. What is class variable? In Java, class variable is a variable that is declared within the class but outside any of the method, constructor or block. If you see here, this, okay, this is the class variable, and class variable you have to define using a static keyword. That means that if you creating object 1, for that object 1 CTR is 0, okay, and for object 2 CTR is also 0, okay. But if you are changing object 1 value to 1, object 1 CTR value, okay, CTR value to 1, then automatically object 2 CTR variable value can be as 1. That means that if you see here, class variable are declared with the static keyword and they are shared by all instances of the class as well by the class itself. No matter how many objects are created or derived from a class, such class variable would only exist one. That means that if you make the static variable, that values or that variable can be created only once, whether you are creating 100 object or you are creating one object. That variable can be created at once, and you can manipulate the value of that variable using any object, and you can see the reflection of values when you are changing the CTR values of object 1. So if you are check the value of CTR value of object 10, it will also come as 10, because that variable is created only once and that variable is shared by all the object, okay. So that is the main reason, and that is the thing we called as class variable, okay. Hopefully you got that answer and you got the clear. If you don't get understanding properly, you can write in a comment. We will explain you on a Telegram channel or any other platform. What is the default value stored in local variable? There is no default value with local variable. Also primitive variable object don't have any default values, okay. Explain the difference between instance variable and a class variable. So a class variable without a static modifier known as instance variable, okay. Instance variable means that, okay, if you create object 1, okay, if you create object 1 and you are writing name equal to Tarun, okay, and if you are creating object 2 and you are putting name equal to Amul, okay. So if you are changing the name in the second object, it will not reflect in the first object, and if you are changing the name of the first object, so it will not reflect the name in the second object. Means both names can be different, because as an object has the property that object can have methods or variables, and that object has its own variable that is not shareable, so we can't change it using another object. So that is the main thing. If you see here, we created object of GFG, then we set the name John, then we are printing the name of John, okay. And in the class variable, I explained you before also, this is the static variable and this is the class variable, okay, PI. That is same for every object, whatever the object you created. If you see here, we created GFG object and print that area. If you see, we are passing radius. If you are pass radius, get area, PI into radius. This is the formula of area of circle, okay. And we are calculating this area using PI, and PI is same for all the object. So this is the rule of class variable and instance variable. Basically instance variable belong to the object and class variable belong to a shareable variable for all the objects, okay. Or you can say that it is a static variable, means memory is created only once for that and every object is pointing to the same memory. So different type of things are there, different types of terminology are there. You can say anything to it and you can explain to your interviewer. Interviewer will be good and good to go, and give you a excellent marks. What is static variable? Static keyword is used to share the same variable. If you see here, what we learning from 3 questions or method of a given class. Static variable are the variable that once declared, then a single copy of variable can created and shared among all objects at the class level. So that is the thing which I am trying to explain you from 5 minutes from 2 questions. Okay, so this is the thing you can say that. Okay, difference in the use of println and printf statement. Println, printf all are used for printing the element, but print all the elements and cursor remain at the same line. Means if you are using print, that means that if you are putting Tarun and printing is going on, so cursor lie on here, and if you are printing another name as Amol, so output came as Tarun and Amol. Okay, and if you are using println, then output came as Tarun and below that line Amol. Okay, so ln means that it jump the cursor to the next line. Okay, and also printf we can use format identifiers too. We can use printf for a format identifiers. Okay, we can replace the values at the printf using printf. Okay, what are operator? Operator are the special type of symbol used for performing some operation over the variable or values. Okay, such as multiplication, such as plus, such as divide. These are all the operators. How many type of operator are available in Java? Arithmetic operator we have, what we explained here. Unary operator we have, assignment operator we have, relational operator we have, logical operator we have, ternary operator we have, like this. Okay, bitwise operator we have, and shift operator we have. Then instance of operator we have. Postfix operator are considered as the highest precedence according to the Java operator precedent. Okay, so this type of operators we have. If interviewer asks you how many types of operators are there, you can mention these names, and you can mention in every name what are the type of operators are there. Like arithmetic is multiplication, addition. These are the symbols of operator. For assignment is different, for unary is different. Unary comes as equal. So these are the unary operator. Okay, what is dot operator? Sometimes interviewer asks what is dot operator. Sometimes interviewer asks you easy question as well. So you can say that to access object variable, we can use dot operator. Okay, if you created the object of a class, you should know that of class variable can be accessed using dot method. Okay, or using dot operator. Why string buffer are mutable? Or interviewer can ask also, string buffer is mutable or not? So you can say that in string buffer is mutable. You can change the value of the string, or you can change the character of values of the strings. If it offer an alternative to the immutable string class by enabling you to change a string content without constantly creating a new object. Okay, mutable string are created with the help of StringBuffer class. The StringBuffer class in Java is identified to the string class except that it is changeable. Okay, if you see the example, this is the main method. We created a StringBuffer. We put Greek for Greek as to string message. Okay, so if you see here, it will came as Greek for Greeks. Okay, this is the output you will get here when you are print this method to string. Okay, so this is the output you are getting. Hopefully you got that how we are getting this output and why we are using StringBuffer, because you can change or append anytime the values whatever you want in the string. So this is very basic question which anyone can ask, or interviewer majority of things. So this is the very basic question which many interview panels can ask you. What is the array in Java? An array in Java is a data structure that help to use to store fixed size sequence of element of the same type. Element of an array can be accessed by their index, which start from 0 and goes up to length of -1. Okay. Array declaration in Java is done with the help of square bracket. If you see here, this is the declaration of array. So this will create the array of size 5 around like this. Okay, and name is ARR. This is the index we have. So this is the array is created by this statement using a square bracket. How many memory arrays are created in Java? So on which memory arrays are created in Java? Arrays are created in heap memory. Okay, when interviewer asks you such type of question, you should know that arrays are created in heap memory. When an array is created with the help of new keyword, memory is allocated in the heap to store element in an array. Okay, in Java, heap memory is managed by the Java virtual machine, that is called as JVM. It is also shared between all threads of the Java program. The memory which is no longer used by the program, JVM uses a garbage collector to clean that or reclaim that memory. Okay, so this is basically array uses heap memory to store it. Okay, so basically this is the thing, array in Java are created in heap memory. Okay, so let's jump to our new question. How to copy a array in Java? That is also very famous question. Sometime interviewer asks you how you can copy the array using some method, or which method you can copy the array and make a new array, duplicate array out of it. So there is a clone method in Java. Using that you can copy the array. If you see here, we created a new array, temp array, and we using that method array.clone. So temp can be look like this. Okay, after running a clone method, temp can be look like this. Okay, so it will exact copy the method and allocated the new memory. Okay, so this is the thing. If you see here, to create a deep copy of array, we can use this method which create a new array with the same values as the original array. Okay, so this is the deep copy. There is one more copy which is shallow copy. Okay, so shallow copy tells that suppose this is our array. Okay, and the name of array is ARR. We have to copy that array, make ARR2 out of it. So what shallow copy do is, shallow copy is just pointing, ARR2 is also pointing to same value, ARR is also pointing to same value. So it is called as shallow copy. Okay, shallow copy. Deep copy means, okay, if 0, 1, 2 is there and ARR is pointing to that, if we make ARR2, ARR2 can create different array with same values. Okay, different array with same values, but memory address can be different. It is XXX, it is YYY. Okay, so memory address is different, that's why it is deep copy. We are doing deep copy and make the same array of, we allocated the same array of same values. Okay, and here what is doing, shallow copy means that we are pointing to same values. Okay, if you change the value in ARR2, it will reflect the things in ARR1, but here if you change the value in ARR, it will not reflect in ARR2 because both address are different, both allocation are different. That is deep copy. And shallow copy, when we are just pointing to same memory location, or that memory location is shared by different type of object or different memories, like static variable which we saw or class variable which we saw. What do you mean by jagged array? Sometimes student confused about jagged array. So jagged array is nothing but it is a 2D array. If you see here, it is a 2D array, which usually called as two-dimension array, which we created when we have a matrix type of question, or we have to store values in a matrix form. So this is the use case when we are using 2D array, that is also called as jagged array. Or jagged array also can be a different. Suppose jagged array first index is 3 length, jagged array second index is 2 length, and jagged array third index is 4 length. So if you see here, that is called as jagged array, means every row can be a different length. Okay, that also you can explain to your interviewer. It is possible to make a array volatile. In Java, it is not possible to make array volatile. Array or volatile keyword is not possible to add on collection or array. It can possible to add volatile keyword into a single variable. If you see the advantage or disadvantage of array, so advantage comes under this picture: direct and effective address access to any element. So you can access array element in O of 1 constant time. Okay, this is the first advantage. Data can be stored effectively in memory using array. The size of array is known as compile time, since elements are stored in contiguous memory regions. That means that if you have an array of like this, and you have a value 102, and you are asking what is AR of 0 value, so it is came as 0. What is AR of 2 value? Okay, it is came as 2. Okay, so you can access any values, or continuous also you can access. You can access any type of values using a index. That is the power of array. So if we saw about the disadvantage of array, array are created with the predefined size. Okay, so at compile time we have to give the array size. Okay, so when we are creating the array, we have to give the array size. Okay, array length of 3. Okay, array length of 3 at the compile time itself. So we don't have an option to change at the runtime. When we are needing another data, or when we are needing huge data, suppose you need 4 length of data at runtime, but you created only 3 length of array. So that is the main problem which you can say as a disadvantage of array. There may be unused memory space in the array memory space. If it is a array is not completely occupied, if you have poor recall, this can be problem. Okay, so sometimes what happen is you created a 100 length of array, and you using only 20 length, or you using only 10 length, but you created 100 length. So 90% of values are not using by your program, but memory is allocated for that. So we are wasting our memory. So that is also a disadvantage of array if we are using that array, because array allocate continuous memory allocation. Compared to other data structure like linked list, trees, arrays might be rigid due to fixed size and limited support for sophisticated data. Because an array element must be all the same data type, it does not support complex data type like object and structure. So that is the main reason we have to define array as one single data type. So at runtime we can't use to add any object into same array or any other data type at runtime. We have to make sure that whatever the data type we created, we have to stick on that. We can push or pull that type of values only. Okay, so this is very important to know advantage of disadvantage of array. And sometimes student can stuck in this question. Student are not able to speak in front of interviewer, so make sure that you read that question and be ready for the interview. So this is also a very important question which asked by every company which I saw or which I give interviews till now. What are the main concept of OOPS in Java? So 4 concepts are there: inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. What are classes in Java? Classes are the collection of objects sharing similar characteristics and attributes. Classes represent the blueprint or template from which objects are created. So this is the definition of class, you can say, when interviewer asks. Classes are not real world entity but help us to create object with which are real world entities. So that is the benefit of class. What are the interfaces? Interface in Java is a collection of static final variable abstract method and define the contract or agreement for a set of linked classes. Any class that implement an interface is required to implement a specific set of method. It specifies the behavior that a class must exhibit but not the specify of how it is should be implemented. Okay, so if you see, if you define this interface, okay, if you define interface using interface keyword, so here I defined interface, okay, and name of interface is shape, and I implemented the interface of shape, and this method I declared here, get area, get parameter, and this method I implemented here. Okay, I implemented that interface method. So if we create object of that class, we are creating circle class object. Okay, so if we are asking area of circle, it will give some output using this get area method, radius into radius. Okay, or then parameter of circle, if we ask, it will give this answer. Okay, using this formula. So this is the basic fundamental of using interface. In interface you can define, you can implement that method inside the class. Just you need to implement the interface, then after that override that method and implement its logic. So for that and this can be useful if you are creating a circle class, if you are creating a rectangle class, that functions can be different, that formula can be different, but you have to make sure that shape can be implemented and you can write your logic there. Give some feature of an interface. Interface in Java programming is defined as an abstract type used to specify the behavior of a class. An interface in Java is a blueprint of behavior. Feature of interface are mentioned below. Interface can help to achieve total abstraction, allow us to use multiple inheritance in Java. Any class can implement multiple interface even when one class is extend only one class. Okay, it is also used to achieve loose coupling. So there is no relationship between methods or between functionalities. So interface, if you are using segregation principle of interface, so you are just making your code base as a loose couple code base. Okay, it is not tightly coupled, or if one thing tightly coupled means one things affect the other code or one code affect the other code when you are changing one code. Loose coupling means one code, if you are changing one code, it will not affect the other code. Okay, so that is mean by loose coupling or tight coupling. What is marker interface? So empty interface is called as marker interface. So what do you mean by data encapsulation? So data encapsulation is a concept of OOPS. Basically in Java there is a class in which several things are mentioned and we are creating the object of the class. So this object is an encapsulation of this class. You can use that methods of the object, but you can't change these methods. Okay, or you can't change the logic of it. Suppose you have a remote of TV, you can use that remote but you can't change the logic. Suppose you are switching on the TV, so that is switching on, switching off, that is the only functionality done by red button, but if you want to change it, you can't change it. So that is called as encapsulation. So this is the program here also. So here is the program. So person is a class, okay, in which some variables are mentioned. Then we created GFG class, that is our main class, and person class object we created. We set it some values of person. Then we are checking the name and age. Okay. So this is the main thing which we can call as encapsulation. So encapsulation followed by C++ also, Java also, in every language. And basically class, whatever class we mentioned, and whenever we making the object, that object is called as encapsulation, that follow the encapsulation purpose. If interviewers ask you why Java not supported pointers, so you have to make sure that you are telling the right things to the interviewer. So how you can say that? You can say that Pointers are unsafe to use. As mentioned here, pointers access the memory that is not allocated to the user. Means you have the pointer, you can access the memory block that is not belong to your program, or that is not belong to your memory. Means this memory is not assigned to you, and this memory can be assigned to another system. Okay, that memory can be assigned to another system, and you are accessing that memory and changing the things. That is the reason Java told that we don't support pointers like C++, and we don't access the memory that is not allocated to us. So this is the answer you can give to interviewer, and your interviewer will get impressed by you. Next question comes here is, can you tell the difference between equals method and equality operator in Java? ठीक है? So if you can see here, this is our input string 1, string 2, and what we are going to do, we are comparing the string 1 with string 2. As you can see here, this is equals operator, that we have used this to compare the equality of the values. Okay, if you have to check 1 equal to 1, this will give you output as true, means it is correct. We are comparing the values. But when we talk about the terms object oriented programming, we deal with the values in the form of object. Suppose you have the two object 1, ठीक है, or object 2, and you are trying to compare it. Okay, you are trying to compare two objects, but this time if you are using this operator will check the value and the memory. So this operator will give the wrong answer to you. So in that case, you can compare like this: object 1 dot equals object 2. If you are using this equals method, this will compare for you. This will compare the two values for you. So we are comparing object 1 equals object 2. If both values are true, like if you see here, if we compare a string 1 dot equals to string 2, it will return as true. So this is the comparison between the equals method and equal things. Equal will compare the values, but if you are trying to compare the object, you have to use equals method, dot equals method. Okay, that is used for object comparison. So how the finite loop declared in Java? This is also a basic question asked by multiple companies in multiple interviews. Okay, so this is called as finite loop, in which you are not mentioning from where the loop start, from where the loop end, and it will go at infinite times. So this is the use case where finite loop will be there. Okay, and while loop is also same. While equal to true, run, and we are not mentioning any logic, we are not breaking the code. Okay, so this will run infinite times. This will run infinite times. Okay, and the third one, do while loop. In while, we are not mentioning any condition, so this is also run infinite times. Okay, so this is the three loops where infinite times we are running the loop, and using this syntax it is possible. Okay, using this code we can run the loop infinite times. So you can mention that, or you can write it when your interviewer asks for it. Briefly explain the concept of constructor overloading. This is very famous question asked by multiple companies whenever you are giving the interviews, whether you know C++ language or you know Java or Python. But this question or this concept came into picture when you are going in the interview. So how to tackle that? Constructor overloading is a process of creating multiple constructors in a class consisting of the same name with a difference in the constructor parameter. So if you see, okay, if you make some constructor, okay, so I can see, if you write like this, public, hospital, and you are making a function, and this is the logic. Okay, So this is the default constructor, whether you will create or system will create internally. Okay, so like this, if you have to override this function, what you can say that you can pass the argument. If you see this function doctors, so when I am trying to create the object of hospital class, okay, I create a object of hospital class and I give 5 as input. So if I give 5 as input, this constructor will call. Okay, only this constructor will call and your object is created with value as 5, that is called doctor. Okay, that is called doctor variable, that is assigned in variable 1. Okay, and if you pass salaries, okay, if you pass salaries in the form of double, okay, type is different. So instead of 5, if you pass 5.50, okay, so this is the salary of the hospital that is stored in variable 3. So if you see here, when we are passing 5 as an integer object, this constructor will call because this contains the parameter of integer. When we are passing 5.50, this constructor will call because it contains double, okay, double parameter, double type parameter. When you are calling doctors and nurses, when you are passing doctors and nurses 2 parameter, suppose you are passing hospital and you are passing 5 doctors and 4 nurses. Okay, so when you are passing 2 arguments while creating a object, so this constructor will call and that variable is assigned to variable 1 and variable 2. So like this, you are overriding the constructor. Basically you have to do a create a constructor with different type of parameter or different types of parameter using the same name of the class, that is called constructor overloading. Hopefully you got that. It is very basic simple concept. When you are starting your coding journey, you should know that. And this question will ask you in the interview because interviewer wants to know whether you are knowing this concept or not, because this concept is used by multiple companies and multiple scenarios on a daily basis. Companies are using this concept. Okay, so to make sure that you learn better, you understand thoroughly and give the right answer to the interview and crack it. So what is copy constructor in Java? Copy constructor is a constructor used when we want to initialize the value of the new object from the old object of the same class. What is telling is, if object 1 is there, okay, that contains some values. Suppose that contains Tarun, Nikhil, like this, okay, and we have to copy this object and make the object 2 that also contain the same value. Basically we have to create a new object with the same values like Tarun, okay, Nikhil. Okay, so to do that, this is the class of interview bit. Okay, this is the class of interview bit that contain department, service, interview bit object. We are initializing the new object value from the old object value in the constructor. Though this can also be achieved with the help of object cloning. Okay, there is a method called object1.clone. Okay, there is a method called object1.clone. So this is object 2. If you are writing this statement, that means object1.clone will is stored to object 2. That means all the values are copied to object 2. Okay, so this is the way where we are doing the cloning of the object, or you can say that copy constructor we are doing. Just copy the values, and you can also make your copy constructor by your own logic also. Okay, so both method you have to tell when your interviewer asks for it. Explain the use of final keyword in variable method and classes. Okay, so let's see. In Java, final keyword is used to defining something as constant or final that represent the non-axis modifier. Final variable. When a variable is declared as final in Java, the value can be modified once it is been assigned. That means you have a, you assign the value as 1 and make variable as final int a1 equal to 1. So this you make. When you make it, okay, that time if you try to change the values, if I am trying to a1 equal to 5, So this will give you error because you make the variable final and final can be initialized one at a time. After that, final is behaving like a constant. You can't able to change it once it is assigned. Values is assigned, you can't able to change it twice. Okay, so this is the rule of final keyword. Basically, final keyword we use on a daily basis in our coding when we have to make the constant in Spring or Spring Boot, whatever framework you are using. If you are using Java and some values might be constant for you, so you can store by using a final keyword. Okay, final method. A method declared as final cannot be overridden by its children classes. Okay, so what is telling is, if you are making method, suppose this is public final. Okay, this is some method or name is Tarun. So when, if you know the inheritance concept, what inheritance told is base class can be inherited by derived class, right? So if we make some method as final in base class, so a derived class, you can't override it or you can't change the method. So that is the power of final keyword. When you have to make some method as final, or there is a requirement, suppose there is a requirement where one class can be inheritance multiple times, but you have to make sure that one method definition can't be changed, or whatever rules you set up, it can't be changed. So that time you are making the final method. Okay, so hope you got it. Just for a reading purpose, read this. A method declared as final cannot be overridden by its children classes. Final class. No class can be inherited from the class declared as final, but the final class can extend other classes for its uses. Okay, means if I make base class as final, before we are making method as final, now we are making base class as final. Suppose this is the base class, we make it final. So that time that class cannot be inherited by other classes, but base class can inherited other classes. Suppose if you want to inherited Tarun class by base, so if you write it base extend Tarun, so it possible to extend the Tarun or inherited that Tarun. But if you are trying to write Tarun extends base, okay, if Tarun class is trying to extend base class, that is not possible because base class is final. Base class cannot be inherited now. Okay, so this is the concept which you have to know before going to interview. So next question is, why is the main method static in Java? The main method is always static because static members are those methods that belong to the classes, not an individual object. So if the main method will not be static, then for every object it is available, and that is not acceptable by JVM. JVM calls the main method based on the class name itself, not by creating an object. So basically, this is, suppose this is your JVM. Okay, you can say this is your JVM. Okay, that is calling your main method. That is calling your main method. Now JVM wanted to call the main method directly because JVM, whatever is there, right? Suppose you are creating a class. In that class, some methods will be there. So for calling that method, you have to create the object for it. So if JVM is called the method 5 times, JVM need to create 5 type of object of the same class. But JVM don't want to do that. JVM wants, I can call directly the main method itself without creating the object. That is the reason we are maintaining main method as static. So JVM need to call by the method name and without creating the object. So JVM is not creating any object, JVM just call the main method to execute it. So if you see in Spring Boot, the same thing happening. If you create a Java code, the main class contain the public static void main keyword. So that is the reason we are maintaining static keyword. Can the static method be overloaded? Yes. There can be two or more static method in a class with the same name but different input parameter. So it is saying the same thing. If you are creating two method names with different type of parameter, one type is double, one type is int, and or you can say that some method contain only one parameter, some method contain two parameters. So this is a overloaded of static methods. Okay, hope you got answer. What is the reason behind making string as immutable in Java? This is very interesting question asked by multiple companies, multiple interviewers and multiple times. So you don't miss it. And if you are liking the video, please like it, share with your friends and subscribe to the channel. So let's see it. A string is made immutable due to following reasons. String pool. Designer of Java were aware of the fact that string data type is going to be majority used by the programmer and developer. That is true. Thus, they wanted optimization from the beginning. They just came up with the notion of using the string pool, a storage area of Java heap, to store the string literals. They extended to decrease the temporary string object with the help of sharing. An immutable class is needed to facilitate sharing. The sharing of the immutable structure between two known parties is not possible. Thus, immutable Java string help in executing the concept of string pool. So, you have this string pool, okay. This is calling as string pool. You can call it string pool, okay. So, this is the string pool. So, string 1 contain apple. String 1 contain value as apple, okay. String 2 also contain value as apple. Both values of string 1 and string 2, both are different object, but both are pointing to the same memory location or same value. So this is the concept string pool follows. If you are putting same values in two object, but that object is also not behaving like a different one, that is not, memory is not created separately. One memory is pointed by two objects. If you change the apple to mango, then string 1 can also be changed and string 2 can also be changed to mango, okay. Both values can be changed to mango. So hopefully you got it. You are sharing the memory, just not using much of memory. So string pool came into picture when you are assigning multiple values. So what Java told is, if is a string variable, you can put it into a string pool and every object pointing to the same memory and same value. If values are same for two variables at the creation of time, then both values are pointing to the same memory location. And if you change one value, another value will also be impacted. And that is a very tricky problem or tricky question asked by multiple times in the interview, or interviewer wanted to know how your logic, how you know about the string array immutability about the Java, and how you know the string pool, how you deeply you know about the concepts. So for that reason, this question asked by multiple interviewers and in multiple companies whenever the Java interview came into picture. So multi-threading, this is also a very famous thing. So if you see here, the safety of thread regarding the string object is an important aspect in Java. No external synchronization is required if the string object are immutable. Thus, a kernel code can be written for sharing the string object across different threads. The complex process of concurrency is facilitated by the method. Collections. In the case of hash tables and hash maps, keys are string object. If the string object are not immutable, then it can be modified during the period when they reside in the hash maps, right? Consequently, the retrieval of the desired data is not possible. Thus, changing state pose a lot of risk. Therefore, it is quite safe to make string immutable. Immutable means once string is initialized, string variable is initialized, it cannot be changed. Due to that reasons, because if you see here, multi-threading purpose and strings are using for hash map key value pairs, and for that reason, if anyone changes in between, so it breaks the code or it breaks the logic. Due to that reasons, string is mutable in Java or immutable in Java. Okay. What is singleton class in Java? This is also a very famous question, and is also a design pattern used by multiple companies when we have to make sure that object is created one at a time, or at least or at most one by the program or by the system. So if you see here, consider water jug in the office. If every employee want water, and they will not create a new jug for drinking water, they will use the existing one with their own references as a glass. So programmatically it should be implemented as water jug. This is the water jug, and this is we are making as singleton class. Okay, so this, okay, using this public static water jug get instance. So whenever you created an object, right, if you see here, when object is null, it will create a new object. When object is always there, then it will return the same object. So that is the power of singleton class. Okay, or this is the pattern followed by most of the industry driven companies. Okay, so this is the pattern followed by multiple companies who are in industry or product based companies, and this is very good example of singleton class. So in that video we will learn, we learned how many questions companies asked when there is a Java interviews going on, and I will give my example also. When I go to take a Java interview, I will make sure that people know what is overriding, overloading, object oriented scenarios. I will ask what is static function, final function, or you can say singleton class, how you make sure that Java inheritance will be done, how you make sure that overriding can be possible, inheritance questions I will ask. And also if you see Java provide very much or very known concept or very different type of concept if we compare about the Python or other language like C++. C++ has own its logics behind it, and Java has own its. So when you are going in a Java interview, make sure that you know string pools, threading, and because that are the very basic concepts. Okay, and Java is used in payment industry from the beginning. Every payment domain you can see, like whether it is a banking system, whether it is a phone pay, Google Pay, or any other companies using the payment gateway, Razor Pay. Okay, all other companies using the Java to make sure that payment is secure, payment is reliable, or the payment industry, Java is the key point. Where the security came into picture, Java is the only language which every company follows. And right now also 80% of the companies using Java as a backend. Okay, where the security comes, where the problems came into picture of concurrency and other things, Java is the best language to use, whether you are in Google or any other companies, or basically you are in the startup also. So Java is the language which used by every company worldwide. So make sure that you will learn this concept and you will learn this questions before the interviewer. So your learning will be good, and hopefully you will got all your answers. Let me know if anything is pending from my end regarding the Java interview questions. I will make sure that I will reply to you in comments, and if you have any doubts on these questions, you will ping me in Instagram group, or you can mention in comment section also. I will happy to help you. Okay, खत्म करते हैं वीडियो को.